My name is Kim Taylor. I'm head coach of Rocky Mountain High School in Fort Collins, Colorado. Tonight I'm joined with some of our wrestlers of Rocky Mountain and Bill Ernest. Bill is a Colorado wrestling official beginning his 35th year of officiating in the state of Colorado, and our videographer is Mr. Jim Norgard. We're getting together this evening to put together a video that shows parents, wrestlers, fans how to watch a wrestling match. We want to cover basic rules and scoring, get into a little bit of technique, how a match is conducted, and we think that this will make you enjoy the sport of wrestling a lot more when you come to check us out. Okay, so now we're ready to show you a match, how it would look like. First thing that we would do in competition is the two wrestlers would report to the scoring table to check in and then report directly to the mat. These two wrestlers have to be fully equipped and ready to wrestle before they report to the mat. When they get to the mat, one wrestler will be assigned the color red and the other the color green. In tournaments, this is done by a coin toss. In dual meets, it's done by just alternating colors, alternating choices from one match to the next. So we're going to get started. Two wrestlers have gone to the scoring table, and then now they're coming out to begin their match. Okay, wrestlers ready to begin. Two wrestlers report to the mat, and they're going to report to the starting lines. The starting lines consist of two lines that are 1 foot apart and 3 feet in length. One has a green starting line, one has a red starting line. They are inside the 10-foot circle, and then the regulation mat has an outer circle that could be different diameters. It varies from school to school. Okay, here we are. We're ready to start our first period.
Gentlemen, good luck. Shake hands. Set. Gentlemen, stand at your post. During the second period, the referee will flip a coin, and this is in a tournament. Green will get his choice. He can choose top position, bottom position. You can choose neutral, or you can defer his choice to his opponent. So green, in this case, defers his choice to the red wrestler, and he chooses down. The bottom man will get set, proper position, ready to set. Top man will come on, set. For our purposes, we're going to shorten the amount of wrestling. It is now red's choice in the third period. His choice is now top, bottom, or neutral. Red, you choose. Oh, defer it over here. Green, now it's your choice. Green chooses neutral for the third period. Set.
Just to review, the first period begins with both wrestlers on their feet, and then the second period begins with one wrestler having this choice that wins the coin toss of having a choice of top, bottom, neutral, or defer. And then the third period, the wrestler that was not given his choice will have a choice of top, bottom, or neutral. So each wrestler gets a choice on either the second or third period of how they want to begin that period. We'd like to go into a little bit more detail on referee's position on the mat. So one wrestler down, we'll let Bill explain it.
We're going to have red go down first. Knees have to be behind the back set of lines. The hands need to come into the front. His head is up. Once he is set, the official will ask if he's ready, then he'll give him a set call. At that point, he has to stay stationary. Is bottom man ready? He is set. Top man comes on. One knee has to be down on the near side. One hand on the elbow, the other hand across the body on the belly button, chin in the middle, at the back. The referee will give a set call, so set, and then they'll start wrestling.
Okay, we'd like to mention that there's another way of starting a different choice, and that's called the optional start. So we have to explain the optional start that a wrestler could choose.
Bottom man is in the same position If the top man wants to have an optional start, he'll signal using the signal that Danny's using here. The official will say, bottom man, we're going to do an optional start. With that signal, he'll put his hands on the middle of the back. You get a set call. One is straight, we're up. And the wrestling continues from there. You go ahead and want to do that.
Might also mention that in this position, the bottom man is called the disadvantaged position. The top man is also called the top wrestler or the advantage position. And in college wrestling, the advantage wrestler, if he accumulates 1 minute or more riding time than his opponent, he's awarded an additional point for riding time at the conclusion of the match. There is no such rule in high school.
One other situation in this position is if the top man doesn't want to get into a regular starting position or an optional, and just wants his opponent to come back up into a neutral position, he can signal that to the official right from there, usually using a neutral sign and asking to bring him up. So we're set. Bottom man come up, you can give him 1 point, that's 1 point green. We're at neutral, set. So that's another option in that position.
Now we want to go through various scoring maneuvers in a match. The first scoring maneuver that we'll talk about is the takedown. As we mentioned in the first period, both wrestlers start in what's called the neutral position with both wrestlers standing and they're working for a takedown. To get a takedown, you must control your opponent down on the mat. And control could be one or both knees, your opponent's torso, or weight on his hands. And if you accomplish that, then you're awarded 2 points for a takedown. So we're going to give you an example of the various kinds of takedowns and how the points will be awarded. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start out with Dan getting a double leg on the bin. Okay, all right.
Rest of set. 2, takedown green. Back to center.
Another example of a takedown is a takedown where you get your opponent's hands on the mat. So beyond reaction time, you get your opponent's weight on the hands. So we'll demonstrate that. This is also a takedown.
So set. 2, takedown red, weight on the hands.
Another way that you'll see takedowns often in wrestling is a defensive takedown. We also call that a counter takedown. So we'll give you an example of a situation where a wrestler scores in a counter type maneuver to get a takedown.
So set. 2, red, takedown.
Now we'd like to show a couple situations on the edge of the mat because there's a lot of confusion on whether control is established within the boundary area or they're ruled out of bounds. And so we'll kind of give you examples of that and whether the call would be inbounds so that points can be awarded or out of bounds where no points would be awarded. So we'll go over here to the boundary line and Bill, let me talk about situation whether they remain inbounds or out of bounds.
Now the supporting points most of the time are the feet. It could be the knees, could be the side, could even be an arm in the situation we talked about before. Right now, both wrestlers, both feet, both supporting points of each wrestler are in bounds. If they're stepping on the line is in. So as long as they're just on the line, so back just a little bit, fellas, so they're both in. Looking to see, we're set, so they're in bounds. If Ben steps out of bounds here, one wrestler has both supporting points in. Wrestling is still live because one wrestler is all the way in. If they maneuver this way, the supporting points of one wrestler in, one are out, wrestling will continue. And if they pivot back and 1 foot of both wrestlers is out, wrestling is out of bounds. Now if we're in a takedown situation, guys come back in. As the official, you've got to watch to see when control is secured and if the supporting points are still in bounds. So, you got a shot here, take it down. That would be a 2-point takedown here. There's control and the feet are still in bounds. Excellent, fellas.
Now this would be a good time to point out the difference between high school and college. That same situation would be awarded as a takedown in college as well. But college wrestling is a little bit more lenient in that you only have to have one supporting point of one wrestler to remain in bounds in order to secure the takedown. So we're going to show you a situation that would be a takedown in college, but not a takedown in high school. Okay?
All right, fellas. That would be a takedown here. One supporter swing in. In college, that would be good.
The next scoring maneuver is an escape, and that's basically a wrestler coming from the disadvantaged position to reach a neutral position, so neither wrestler is in control, at which point the wrestler has earned an escape. So here's an example of an escape.
All right. One man gets set. Set on top. Set. 120 escape. We're neutral. All right, let's come back.
As a means of strategy, the offensive wrestler may intentionally want to award an escape to go back on his feet where he has a chance to get a 2-point takedown. So we'll show a situation where the advantaged wrestler is going to intentionally signal to the referee to give an escape and to go back upon their feet. So here's what that looks like.
Okay, bottom man gets set. Bottom man, he's going to give you a point. Come on up. Got 1 point red. We're at neutral. Who's that here? Carry on.
Next situation is a reversal, and that's basically coming from a disadvantaged position to a position of advantage. So let's have one of you guys go down and we'll have you get a switch or whatever for a reversal, demonstrate a reversal.
One man set, top is on. Set. 2. Reversal. 3.
Might also mention that this doesn't happen very often, but you can also get a reversal while both wrestlers are on their feet. So in this situation, we'll have a wrestler do basically a switch, but where both wrestlers stay on their feet. A reversal can also be awarded in this situation.
So, all right, so 5 man set. Top on. Set. Here's 2. Reversal. In that situation, the points can be awarded when they're in that belly to back position before he takes it to the mat. So that's different than secure control in a takedown.
Next situation is a near fall. This can be a little complicated, but we'll try to explain it to you so you really understand what's going on. Basically, if you hold your opponent's shoulders close to the mat for 2 or more seconds, 2 or more consecutive seconds, you can earn either a 2-point near fall if it's between 2 and 5 seconds, or if you hold your opponent's shoulders there for 5 seconds or longer, you can receive a 3-point near fall. To receive the near fall, you must hold your opponent's shoulders in what we call near fall criteria. So we're going to show you what we mean by near fall criteria. We're going to just without a partner here, just kind of laying and then lay back and roll over on your back just on your elbows. Okay, this is one near fall situation where both shoulders are within 4 inches of the mat. So that would be, if held beyond reaction time, that would be considered a near fall criteria, and points could be awarded if restrained for a long enough period of time. The more common situation that you'll see is where one shoulder is on the mat and the other shoulder is going to turn this way, right there. One shoulder is on the mat and the other shoulder is held at a 45-degree angle beyond reaction time, and then that would be the near fall criteria, and then held for between 2 to 5 seconds, could give either a 2-point or a 3-point near fall. So we'll give you a couple examples of that. So here we go.
Ben, before we move there, go into a high bridge. Ben is in a high bridge. He may not meet that 4-inch criteria, but a high bridge is also near fall criteria. So we'll come back in and show some examples.
Now this first one, let's just go hold it for 2 seconds or a little bit longer than 2, so there's a 2-point near fall. Okay?
And before we get going, typically what you'll see an official do is he'll make a sweep of the hand. Sometimes you'll hear the verbal count with that. Neither of those is required, but it is highly recommended so that the coaches, the wrestlers, and the spectators understand how many seconds have gone by so that they can understand how many points are being scored. So the bottom man is set. Come on. Set. 1, 2. 2 is going to roll. All right, let's come back. So there was a 2-second count. So we received a 2-point near fall. Bottom man set. Come on. Set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perhaps the time is gone out at that point. When the situation is over, the official will signal the points for the wrestler who earned them. Let's try one more. Coach, what do you got?
Okay, very similar. We want to point out that in a near fall situation, that the points will not be awarded until the advantage wrestler, his hold has been broken. Basically, the bottom mat wrestler has to belly back down, and the pinning situation is ended before the points are being awarded. So if you're in the same situation, and you're going to belly back down, and then he's not going to award the points until you break and chicken. Okay?
All right, bottom man set. Top, side, set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold, same situation. Now 3, nearest hold. Hold.
Next scoring maneuver will be the fall, and this is basically the knockout in wrestling. In high school wrestling, junior high wrestling, you must hold your opponent's shoulders to the mat for 2 consecutive seconds to get the fall or the pin. In college wrestling, you only have to hold your opponent's shoulders to the mat for 1 second to get the pin. So here's an example of a pin or fall.
And set, top. Set. When the match is terminated, either by fall or by points, you come back to the center, they shake hands, and the winner's hand is raised. Typically then the wrestlers will go shake hands with the opposing coach as a sign of sportsmanship.
Now we want to demonstrate some common situations that might occur in a match. First one is false starts. And basically, a false start is a wrestler using an incorrect starting position or jumping the gun, starting too soon. In this situation, wrestlers can be given 2 cautions for false starts, cumulative throughout the match, but on the 3rd false start, his opponent would receive 1 point, and for any subsequent false start, his opponent would get 1 additional point. So I'll give an example of what a false start looks like.
So a couple situations. One could be just an illegal start, incorrect start, bottom man set. At the point in time where the officials ask him if he is set, if the position is wrong. So stop wrestling, bottom man, that's red. Red caution, you need to move your hands in front. So let's reload. So come on up and then jump back down. So now he's in a proper position. He's now set on top. All right, jump the gun before the official would start. So that's the 2nd caution for the bottom man for red. We're going to try this one more time, fellas. Bottom man ready? Set, top, come on. Set. All right, that's the 3rd caution. 3rd caution, 1 point for his opponent, and they're back in that situation. Okay.
It's essential that everyone understand that amateur wrestling is structured around the health and safety of each wrestler. Any hold or maneuver used in such a way as to endanger life or limb is illegal. We're going to show you some examples of illegal holds, and good officials will be able to sometimes either stop these holds before they become illegal, but if they do become illegal, officials will stop the maneuver, award the penalty point, and then restart the wrestlers. Examples of legal holds are any hold that restricts breathing or circulation, forcing any limb beyond normal range of motion, a slam, figure 4 scissors around the head or body, an illegal hammerlock, illegal full Nelson, illegal headlock, and so on. So there's quite a few different illegal holds. We always go over these with the wrestlers at the beginning of the year so they know and not to do them. But we'll go through some examples and how they're called in a wrestling match. So the first one we want to talk about, very common, is what constitutes a legal headlock versus what is an illegal headlock. So we'll start out here with Kyler, a headlock on Dan.
So as we spin around, right now where Kyler is that is a legal position. He's got both the head and the arm included, the elbows included. If he were to come down and just have the head, the elbow is out, that's an illegal hold at that point. As long as the bottom wrestler didn't create that, we would stop that and we would penalize that. So we're going to come back up. Wrestlers would not secure his takedown here. The official will signal illegal, both hands behind the head, and he would give the point to the offended wrestler.
Okay, the next illegal maneuver is a figure 4 scissor around the head. In a pinning situation, this used to be called a legal move, but now has been made an illegal move. So let's do a chicken wing and a figure 4 scissors around the head, which is now illegal.
So situation is going around. 1. Before near fall criteria is met, the top man was in an illegal figure 4 on the head, so he doesn't get the near fall. The wrestler goes back to where they were in that situation. Bottom man would receive 1 point for an illegal hold, and we'd restart from there.
Okay, the next situation, let's show an illegal hammerlock, okay? Illegal hammerlock.
When the arm is back here, at this point, as long as this arm is straight across the back, it is legal. As long as it stays on the back, it's legal. If Danny were to raise it up off, that's illegal. I'd stop it at that point. As the wrestling, as it starts to move up here, an experienced official would stop the match at this point before it became illegal and dangerous. And the signal for a potentially dangerous move is 1 hand behind the head. The official will communicate that's a potentially dangerous hold. We're going to restart. It's a safety consideration for the wrestlers. If Danny were just to yank it way up high, then it would be penalized.
Very good. Okay, now a full Nelson. Full Nelson.
So at that point, wrestlers underneath both arms, hands are up on the head. They don't have to touch. They could be overlapped, or they could just be up on top of the head. But that is a situation that is dangerous to the neck area, and it is an illegal hold. Once again, you'll see that situation we would call illegal, and bottom man would receive the point.
Next situation is a slam. If a wrestler behind another wrestler, the advantage wrestler is responsible for the safe return to the mat of the defensive wrestler. So in this situation, if he picks him up and throws him down with not necessary force, he could be called for a slam. So there is a little bit of subjectivity of this move. But basically, as I said, the top wrestler is responsible for a safe return to the mat of the defensive wrestler. So we don't want to do a slam here, to kind of get an idea.
And as Coach said, this call is extremely important. It's extremely subjective. The official needs to call a slam without hesitation and without the consideration of the score and if the bottom man is injured. If it's a slam, you call that immediately. Essentially what you'll see is if a wrestler lifts his opponent up into the air, the official, what I will do, what the official will do, is give a verbal easy, so that he brings the opponent down safely. It's very difficult to demonstrate this because we don't want to injure our 2 wrestlers here. So that's a very difficult call because the sport of wrestling is very physical, and you'll see lots of contact, but at the point in time where it's unnecessary or there is additional force applied, and typically it's about the upper body, but not always. That's a really difficult call, and it is a safety call.
The next situation that we want to discuss is potentially dangerous, and Bill's already kind of touched on this, but referees are instructed to watch all wrestling holds that have the potential to either become illegal or could injure an opponent and stop the hold before the injury may occur. So we'll show a situation here where, let's have you put the legs on and then you stand up, okay? All right, this is a situation that could be potentially dangerous. You're up here.
When he comes up, because the bottom man is bearing the complete weight of the top man, we stop wrestling, call it a potentially dangerous situation, and we come back in. Another one with the legs in, let's show a power back, because that's extremely difficult. As the wrestler is, go ahead and flatten them out. At this point in time, it's very difficult for the bottom man to move. So if you got both legs in, I have to watch this shoulder determine can he move, and at the point in time where this shoulder is in danger, it's a very difficult call. At this point in time, if the hips are flat and the shoulders can't go anywhere, I'd stop the match, call potentially dangerous. Very difficult because the top man is about ready to score near fault points, so it's a very tough call, and I have to make sure that I'm protecting the bottom wrestler in this situation.
Next situation is called a stalemate. Stalemate is a situation in which neither wrestler can improve his position. So rather than just letting that position go on and on and on, referee will stop that, call stalemate, and get wrestling started again. So let's do a situation that could be called a stalemate. Okay.
Stalemate, we're back up. The official's going to call that. There's no time limit per se on when to call a stalemate. At the point in time where the official feels like neither wrestler can advance, call the stalemate, bring it back to that same situation. In this case, it was neutral, so the clock is not being burned up, so that both wrestlers have a chance to use the clock to their advantage and score in a fresh situation.
Next situation is technical violations. There are several wrestling situations given the term technical violation, which are penalized by awarding 1 point to the opponent of the offending wrestler. Examples of technical violations are locked hands in the advantage position, fleeing the mat, grasping your opponent's uniform, reporting to the scoring table not properly equipped. The one that you'll see the most often would probably be the locked hands violation. So we're going to give you an example when in a locked hand situation where it is a technical violation and points will be awarded. In another situation where hands can be locked where points are not awarded. So we'll show the difference between when and when points are not awarded for locked hands.
Set, time, come on. Set. Okay, there's locked hands. As long as the wrestler has a knee down on the mat, you'll see a locked hand signal, technical violation, and the offended wrestler will get 1 point and will return to that situation. So we're at a fresh start. This time, fellas, work on a switch, lock it up, hold it, and then eventually finish it up. It's a delayed call, so the bottom man can finish his maneuver, he's able to score that additional point. So bottom man set, top to bottom. Step. Lock. 2. Reversal. 1. Locked hands. Technical violation. All those signals are being made and communicated to the scoring table while the action is still continuing. Because at that point in time, the bottom man is not going to be penalized for that locked hand. He has a chance to continue wrestling and score. It's kind of like a free move.
We're going to talk a little bit about locked hand situations. In a pinning situation, it's legal, it's okay for the top man to lock his hands, but it is illegal to lock hands around your opponent if you're down on the mat, and that situation could be awarded locked hands. When your opponent comes to his feet, then it's okay to lock your hands. That's a little bit confusing, but we're going to demonstrate when it's okay to lock your hands, when it's not okay to lock your hands.
All right, bottom man, get set, top them on. Set. Okay, now we're okay. Just let it go. We're still okay. So same combination. Now we're going to try carry again. There's the count. And we have the fall.
Stalling. Stalling is a necessary but controversial aspect of wrestling because it is a subjective call by the referee. And we're going to give you some examples of what is meant by stalling, both in a neutral position and also down in the mat position. In the neutral position, each wrestler must work toward achieving a takedown. If the referee feels that one wrestler is avoiding takedown, he can subsequently be called a stalling violation. Here's an example of stalling violation.
Let's set. Warning stall red, we're backing up. Now we're out of bounds, back to the center. Set. Avoiding. Got a stalling red, one point green, we're out of bounds. As they come back to the center, what we just saw was a very quick call. We're demonstrating the backing up, the avoiding wrestling. Stalling is one of those calls where there's a bit of duration that's going on. Sometimes one opponent is attacking and he has the privilege to defend, but he's got to re-engage. So that's a difficult call. At what point in time do I feel like he's defending versus he is just avoiding contact and avoiding wrestling?
So stalling in the bottom position, the bottom wrestler must continue to work for an escape or reversal. He can't just lay down there and just kind of climb up. So here would be an example of where the bottom wrestler is considered stalling. Okay, I'm set. Top, come on. Set. Back in. Got a stalling bottom, stalling bottom. Typically what you see with the bottom man position, his head is down on the mat. Sometimes he'll even curl up and he'll block. And so the bottom man needs to present and be moving so that the top man has an opportunity to work his pinning combinations. Okay, stalling in the top position. And the top wrestler must also always continually work for a near fall or pin or cut his wrestler loose, but if he just hangs on and is not wrestling aggressively on top, the top wrestler can be warned for stalling as well. Lock in and set, top them on. Here. Warning, stall top. Now the top position, you stop the match when you are warning and penalizing for the top wrestler. Then you restart so that the time doesn't burn. Another situation where the top is difficult is the bottom man is down, got to bust it down flat and cover the hips, stay on the hips. So if the top man is in this position, he may be real busy with his upper body, but if he stays parallel on those hips, and I determine that he's not trying to advance for a pin, then he'd be called for stalling. That's a tough one because wrestling isn't instantaneous. There's a breaking down period, there's setting up the maneuver properly. The top man typically, if he clears those hips while he's working for a pin combination, he'll be okay in that position and not get called for stalling. Coach? Another situation that we really need to explain is the situation of an overtime match. Because overtime matches don't occur very often, a lot of times people lose track of how they're really to be conducted. So we'll just go over an overtime match. If the regulation match is tied, then what happens first is the wrestlers will go into what's called a sudden victory period. It's a 1 minute period where the first wrestler to score points would win the match whenever those points are scored. So let's just say that we're going into sudden victory. First wrestler to score wins the match. Okay, here we go.
All right, gentlemen, we're in overtime. Sudden victory. First point scorers wins. Good luck. Set. Two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in that situation, points were earned, but Kyler was able to take Danny directly to his back. He was able to score near fall points, and in this case, he was able to score a pinfall and scoring additional points for his team. So the match isn't stopped if the wrestler can take him directly to that pin situation, the near fall criteria. All right?
Okay, now what if the match is still tied at the end of the sudden victory? In other words, neither wrestler was able to score any points during the sudden victory period. Then the wrestlers will go into two 30-second tiebreaker periods. Those periods go completely through the duration of 30 seconds. The first 30-second period, a wrestler is given a choice of top position, bottom position, or he can defer. So go ahead and let's call this the 30-second tiebreaker. This is the first 30-second tiebreaker period.
So fellas, we get a sudden victory. We're still tied. We're in the tiebreaker. There's the coin toss. Red choice. He defers top or bottom. All right. Bottom man chooses down. He is set on top. Set. We're really shorten this for the sake of the video. They come back to the center. Red has a choice. He can either choose bottom or top or bottom. He chooses down. Bottom man set. Come on top. Set. All right. We're at the end of that tiebreaker. We're still tied. Coach is going to talk about the ultimate tiebreaker.
Okay, in the ultimate tiebreaker, this is the end of the match. In the ultimate tiebreaker period, the wrestler given his choice can you choose either top position or bottom position. In this ultimate tiebreaker, the first wrestler to score would win the match. If neither wrestler scores at the end of that 30-second period, the top wrestler would be awarded the win. Okay, so we're going to go into the ultimate tiebreaker.
So at this point in time, gentlemen, we're the ultimate tiebreaker. Check the scoring. First point scores were to red. Red, you can choose bottom position or top position. Red has chosen top. Bottom, you're down. He is set. Top, come on. Set. Stop there. No points were scored, but since he wrote him out before the match is terminated, red will receive 1 point for the ride out, shake hands, and he'll be the winner in the ultimate tiebreaker.
I'd like to talk a little bit about unsportsmanlike conduct and unnecessary roughness. As in every sport, wrestlers and coaches must conduct themselves with good sportsmanship. Wrestlers and coaches can either be penalized or disqualified if they fail to do so. At the conclusion of the match, each wrestler is responsible for shaking the hand of his opponent while the winner gets his hand raised. And then at the conclusion of that, the wrestlers would go and shake hands with the opposing coaches. And at the end of the dual meet, the teams would also shake each other's hands to finish up the match. Now we'd like to go through a little mini match to kind of go through these as how they would occur, so you can kind of get a feeling of what the flow of a wrestling match would look like, and happy to see how a referee would conduct that. So here we go.
All right, fellas, here's the belt. All right, shake hands. Set. Two, take down green. One, escape or neutral, so red. Two, take down red. No back. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. We have 2 near fall for red. Let's go back to the center. Second period. Red, your choice. Red defers. Green, now your choice. Green will choose neutral in the second period. Gentlemen, set. Now 2. Take down green. 2. Reverse red. Got locked hands. Locked hands. Technical violation. 1 point green. Back to the center, gentlemen. Bottom and set. Top. Come on. Set. 1. Green. Stay. We're neutral. Got a stall warning green. center. Set. 3, calling. 1 red. Third period, gentlemen. Carry a stall warning and a penalty into the third. Red is your choice, third period. Red chooses down. Bottom. Set. Top. Set. Stop. Illegal. Full Nelson. 1 point red. Still down. Set. Come on, stop. Set. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got the 2 point here. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 point here ball for green. 1, 2, ball. Thank you, bands, gentlemen. Shake hands. Winner.
I'd like to thank everyone that helped us put this video together. Mr. Norgard, who videotapes for us. The rest that did a phenomenal job. Mr. Bill Ernest for officiating, did a really fine job. And we hope that this video will help you to really enjoy and appreciate the sport of amateur wrestling. Thank you very much.